In this video, I will show you how to create hollow forms that you can then carve and place inside one of another using two pinch pot forms. You're going to begin by creating pinch pots and making them very, very, very even. You may use a rib tool, a sponge, or just pinching and pushing and pinching and pushing to make them very even. You may want to use a rasp or a cheese grater to create completely level edges, and then slip and score very cleanly the edges together. I previously made this one out of red clay that I'm about to place on the interior, and it is quite firm. And then I'm placing the slipped and scored pinch pots together, welding together the seam. And then I'm going to spend a really long time sponging the outside, ribbing the outside, and generally just smoothing and smoothing and smoothing and smoothing and smoothing. You could easily spend an hour just on the smoothing and ribbing and blending. If the seam opens again, you can reseal it. Here you see that I'm starting to use cookie cutters and hole punchers to carve through the piece. I'm using a rib tool to create a grid for myself, starting at the top and going down. I'm starting with a perfect X, which is a pretty easy metric if you've ever tried to cut a pizza or cut a pie or a cake. You look at it and you eyeball it, and then you cut in half from there, and cut in half again, and you end up with pretty even slices to give yourself a guideline. From there, I worked out from the center and created grid lines by spinning on a banding wheel, and that enabled me to fairly evenly space all of the holes that I was making to create my geometric carving design. These hole punch tools that I'm using here are very convenient, but you could create your own hand-drawn method. You could use just a needle tool or a carving tool to create organic lines. They don't have to be geometric. I would wait to flip it over until I was quite sure that this one side was firm enough to support it without slumping. That's the biggest issue that you probably will encounter, is that it will start to squish and fall down. And then you smooth it at the end.